had to do it manual, but it's fine. I haven't set that up yet. Also, I'm thinking of... I'll have to ask Cappy about this and get her opinion. Not like Cappy is a decision maker on my stream or anything, but I like getting her opinion because she's the boss. But I'm thinking of changing Ensign Ricky's name. Hey Mom, hey Two Talon. How's everyone doing today? Normal. I'll tell you after the stream.
Oh, okay.
Not important.
Okay. Oh.
You... What up? What's slut? Ready for 2020 to be over? It's July. Is this guy's name Recruit Fellatio? No. Quite awkward. Oh yeah, I do on-sites. It's drastically reduced recently for obvious reasons, but where did you think I went for 1 week a month when I said, "Hey guys, I'm going to be gone all next month for an on-site"? What did you think I was? Did you think I was lying? Meow. a company teaches you new things? Oh, like a training or a seminar or something. Does my company do commercial plant work? Are you talking about plants like oil and gas and stuff? Or are you talking about like a tree that appears inside a McDonald's commercial? We have in the past, but most of our oil and gas companies are business offices as opposed to plant work. But no, there's the company that I used to go to once a week every month was a construction company that focused on oil and gas industry. We still do work for them, but they're mostly shut down. We're mostly shut down for on-sites at least. So I don't do that until all this is kind of blown over. Or if they have some like emergency thing come up where they're like, oh my god, this entire site of like 60 employees is offline. Can you go over there and fix it? And then I'll go do it. But when I would leave for like 1 week every month, that was just going there because, not because anything was broke, just to go by and check in on everybody and say hi. Fix printer problems and stuff like that, but...
8-hour drive.
Yeah. Yeah, it's on the other side of the state, so... It took me an entire day to get there, an entire day to get back, and then I'd be there for 2 or 3 days, depending. Texas has a lot of oil sites, I guess. Yeah. Compared to other states, I would say yes. I don't think we're number one. I think Alaska's probably got more than we do, but that's probably just off of pure size. I have the option of both. If I'm in town, I just use my car and do fuel repayment, but if I'm going on the out-of-town trip like that, where I have to drive halfway across the state, no, I use the company vehicle for that. But like yesterday when I was just in the city, I just used my car. It's just more convenient. Oh, I've already talked to this dude, my bad. Reimbursement, yeah. They also reimburse me for food and stuff like that. So if I'm out of town and I'm eating, they're technically paying for my food. I have like a company credit card and stuff. But sometimes they don't take that card, so I have to use my own. And if I do that, then they pay me back. No, I sleep in an actual good hotel. Like, I picked my own hotel. Probably because I've been with the company long enough. They don't really care. But what I usually end up doing when I head out of town for like long extended stays is I'll get a hotel that has a kitchenette in it because it's only a little more expensive than a standard hotel. And then I'll go to the supermarket and buy dinner at the supermarket for the whole week and keep it in the kitchen. And in addition to it being less expensive for the company, it's also more convenient for me. So when I'm done, I don't have to then go to a place, pick up food, take it to the hotel. I can just go back to the hotel and yeah, throw something in the microwave. Not have to worry about it. The hotel serves dinner? I mean, they have room service, but that's expensive as hell. I'm not gonna do that. It's a combination of easy and cost effective. Room service might be the easiest, but it's probably the most expensive, so no, not room service. My company doesn't like me that much. Actually, I'll be honest, if I got room service, they'd probably still pay for it. But they would tell me afterwards, they'd be like, don't do that next time. Do I have a Drury Inn here in my town? I'm sure we do. Probably multiple. Where I go? I have no idea. No, my hotel, the hotel I stay at just does continental breakfast or whatever. And nowadays it's just a grab bag. You don't even get to pick. They just have a bunch of bags sitting out front and you grab one and leave. Because, you know, social distancing and all that. They don't want people hanging out. They want you to either stay in your room or get out of the building. Which I can appreciate. But like I said, I haven't been up there in like... Yeah, get your shit and get out, basically. I haven't been up there in like 2 months. Because I emailed them and I was all like, we're not going back up there unless there's an actual problem. We're not just gonna go up there to check in on everybody and visit and say hi and not actually do anything. And they were like, you know what, that's probably a good idea. We're working on like 30% staff right now anyway. Do I give training classes? Yeah, sometimes. Not to this client per se, but I have done so in the past. I already talked to you. I already talked to you. I'm just gonna give up on that. I don't really care. No, this company does their own internal training. Sometimes I'll have one of the construction folks walk up to me with this device. I don't even know what it is, and they're like, "Hey man, can you help me out with this thing right here?" And I'm all like, "Nope. I don't even know what that thing right there is, let alone how it works." Although oddly enough, about half the time I help them out anyway, and I can figure it out just from fumbling around. You know, it's one of those, you have enough innate knowledge to kind of figure out the basics. You've learned the Texan word for money. Yeah, that word is money. We speak English here. We just sound weird, that's all. It's not a different language. Money, y'all. Thank you, Cappy.
You're welcome.
And no, it's not a we speak English here, like learn English. It's not like that.
Thank God, because I can't.
Yeah, I mean, everybody knows I can hardly read English. I'm not going to give anybody a hard time for speaking Spanish. People who give Spanish speakers a hard time for speaking Spanish, I don't understand those people. It's like when you visit France and you're talking to your spouse in Paris, you're not going to speak to them in like horrible French. You're just going to talk to your spouse in English. I don't understand why people are all like, you speak Spanish and your wife speaks Spanish and you're most comfortable speaking Spanish, but you're in the United States, so you have to speak English. No, fuck that. Speak whatever you want. People are assholes. People, what a bunch of bastards. Why would they call it cash money and not just cash? I don't know. I think that's to differentiate between cash, C-A-C-H-E. I'm sorry, ma'am. I'm gonna need you to clear your cash. And she's like opening up her purse and pulling out her money. And I'm like, no, your computer cash. Who the hell says I pay in cash money? I've never heard that phrase uttered other than like in rap videos. Cash money, y'all! You know, stuff like that. That's the only place I've ever heard that phrase used. I've never heard anybody ever use cash money in real life. You hear it in Georgia a lot? Maybe it's a regional thing. So why do people say cash money at all? I don't know. Because it sounds cool? I mean, it does kind of sound cool. It is a southern thing? Oh, okay. I get a lot of people on the phone, or I used to. I don't really anymore, but I used to get a lot of people on the phone being like, where are you? And I'm like, oh, I'm in Texas. And they're like, no, you're not. And I'm like, yeah, I am. And they're like, you don't sound like you're in Texas. Yeah, Texas is southwest. Texas is not south. There's a difference. What?
No, I'm sorry. I just...
Oh, I thought you were laughing at me.
No, I was laughing at a GIF on Image.
Oh, okay. I thought you were like, psh, idiot.
No, I mean, yeah.
I mean, that too, but...
Well...
Oh, you're... Yeah, I keep forgetting Trika's in Israel.
I know. I remember my friends.
I remember my friends. Shut up. I don't know, who's the guy in Florida that I can never remember lives in Florida? Elijah Salas, that's right. Where do I keep thinking you're from? I think you're from the United States. Or Canada, maybe. Heaven. Oh, gay. I don't remember where anybody's from. I have a really bad memory. And it's not like I have a bad memory like I'm constantly forgetting just random stuff. It's like if I don't do something like 50 times in a row back to back, I won't remember it. I just like Cappy will say one of those things like, "Hey, when we're running around today, before we go home, can we stop by this place and pick up this thing?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure, don't forget to remind me." And then on the way home, I'll just forget and go home, and she's like, "I didn't want to go there anyway." And I'm all like, "Why didn't you remind me? I'm an idiot. I'm so forgetful." Elijah Salas, yeah, I know he's in IT. I know he's fiber certified. I don't think that's like his job. But I learned the Gek word for 9A? What the fuck is that? 9A is not a word. Oh, I definitely don't call an 8-hour drive nearby. If an 8-hour drive might still be in Texas, but that is not nearby. Fiber certified is a thing? I mean, yeah, you can get certified in anything. A lot of companies won't let you, work on technology if you're not certified in that technology. Like the construction company I was talking about that I do work for, they have VoIP phones, and I'm certified in the same VoIP phones that they use. And that was one of their stipulations for me working for them, is they're like, "Do you have somebody in your company who's certified in these phones?" And they were like, "Yeah, this guy." And they're like, "Okay, he can do all our work then." I had to go through a bunch of construction site safety training and a whole bunch of stuff. Most of our certifications are not federal or state. They're company based. And it's not company like the company you're doing work for. It's company, usually the company that developed the product. So, like, for example, Cisco, the big networking company, they offer a lot of Cisco certifications. So you can get certified in their products from that company. And then you just go to other companies and you're like, "Hey, I'm Cisco certified." And they're like, "Oh, okay, cool."
And it would be universal for anywhere you went, like
Yeah. Yeah, if you move states, it doesn't matter. You don't have to get recertified in a different state. Because you're certified through the vendor, not the government. CCNP, CCNA, yeah. I don't know what their certifications are. They change them every couple of years. And I don't think CCNA is actually the correct acronym anymore. It's still... There is still a CCNA equivalent, but I think they renamed it. And they have a different acronym now. Or maybe I'm thinking of something else. But basically, yes, that stuff. There is government certifications as well, like, I'm sure you've seen it on Imager and stuff, the work safety stuff, and you'll see a thing that's like OSHA's freaking out. OSHA, that's a government certification in safety. Occupational Safety and Health, I think, is what that is. It's things like, don't stand on the top rung of a ladder. No jumping off roofs, you know. I would say like 90% of OSHA safety stuff is just common sense. What state do I think you're from? I don't know. I'd probably say like... I mean, there's 50 states and a lot of different types of people from different states. But I mean, it's a safe bet to go with like, I don't know, New York or California.
In my head, I went, New York or California?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You go for the most populous states. New York, California, Texas, Florida.
No, don't put him in Florida.
Nobody really wants to be in Florida. But it's like, I wouldn't look at you and be all like, Wyoming. You know? It's just like, not a lot of people in Wyoming. Probably not the best first guess. I would guess you'd be from the Northeast. Yeah, Pennsylvania or something. Minnesota. Who else here loves watching that dude on YouTube that does like dialect coaching?
Oh.
That guy's awesome.
Yes.
I watched an episode he did recently where he was talking about why tongue twisters are so difficult. And he broke down like, this is how your mouth is shaped, and this is how you make these sounds. And this is why this tongue twister works in the United States, but not in Australia. Eric Singed? I don't know what his name is. He's the guy that shows up on Wired a lot. There's that guy, and then there's a lady. There's also a lady that shows up on Wired that does dialect coaching, but I don't think she's American. I want to say she's British. Eric Singer, is that the dude? Okay.
Yeah. So that he was close.
Yeah, he was really close. I didn't even remember what the hell the guy's name was. If you had guessed Eric Singer, I would have been all like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe? But yeah, his one on tongue twisters was really interesting. Because you think it's based off of like alliteration, and that's why you end up making a lot of mistakes, is because there's a lot of alliteration in there. But it turns out what it mostly is it's the way you make sounds in your mouth, and that's what screws you up. Say fish and chips. Fish and chips. Very, very American way of saying it, I guess. Oi, fish and chips, mate. You know, there's Australian for you. Nailed it.
Well,
Awesome.
also we would say French fries.
Sounds American? Yeah. Yeah, we would just say French fries. Because chips here are, I think the British equivalent of what I would call chips, they call crisps. I think that's right.
Yeah.
Although if you go to a seafood restaurant, even in the United States, they don't sell fish and French fries. They sell fish and chips. It's just French fries. Oh, that's much easier to be able to tell who's Australian versus New Zealand. You just ask them who the best rugby team is. No one from New Zealand is going to say anything other than the All Blacks. If their answer is anything other than All Blacks, they're not New Zealanders. That's easy. Or they say "nar." No, that's all. He's Australian,
He's
isn't he?
Australian.
Yeah. Okay. "Nar."
Both him and whatchamacallit, when we played the golf game.
Yes.
The other Australian was there, and it was the same Nar.
"Nar, nar," and we were just cracking up.
What's his name?
I don't remember their names. I could look through
Well,
Discord and find them.
Neverlast is-
Neverlast, yeah.
What's the other guy's name?
You don't know anything about rugby other than it's a combination of football and boxing? I mean, yeah, it's pretty close.
Oh, called him Tom.
Yes.
He kept calling him that, so he renamed himself that.
Yeah. I think his name had dragon in it.
Yeah, right now, Xilanx.
Xilanx. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, yeah, he's Top the whatever dragon.
Top the dragon, yeah.
Xilanx went Nar.
Yeah, Xilanx was "nar, nar." And we were cracking up the whole time. Oh man, it was so funny. That's funny because I watched some Aussies on YouTube and they don't say that. They don't say "nar."
It's probably regional.
Yeah, it must be regional. Because the Aussies I watch are from the West Coast, Australia. And I think Xilanx and Neverlast are both the East Coast. You have like 3 dragon people in my community? Oh, I've got more than that, yeah. Dragon is a very popular word for usernames. Because it sounds cool. Isn't Eternal from the AU?
No, he's Canadian.
Eternal's Canadian? Okay. I don't know. Ask Cappy or ask Mom. They know.
Mom's more reliable.
Yeah, Mom's a little more reliable. Mom also has far more details. She has like birthdays and stuff.
I just remember like my favorite people. I remember the people that talk a lot.
Yeah. That's the thing with me. If people show up frequently, I remember a lot about them. Like Xilanx and Neverlast, I used to know a lot about them, and then because of time zones and stuff, they've had school and things like that, and they can't show up as often. So they don't show up for like 6 months, and then I just forget everything about them. Oh, you don't keep that up anymore? Okay. Hyperdrive has no fuel. Alright, let's make some more fuel here. Missing components. I need oxygen. Oh, I'm low on oxygen. Alright, well next time we stop off at a base, remind me to get oxygen, would you?
Technology recharge.
What?
Remember when we went to the dentist and I had to put spell Matthew? And you didn't help me, you just sat there laughing at me. Because I got increasingly upset.
That sounds just like me. How do you spell Matthew again? And I'm just cracking up and she's like, don't tell me!
You just kept laughing.
Yeah, that checks out. That sounds like me.
Yeah.
I don't remember this, but that sounds exactly like something I would do. I had a phone. I had a rotary phone. We had a rotary phone for a little while, didn't we, Mom? I'm pretty confident we did. It wasn't very long, but we had one. I think. Yeah, we did? Okay. I was like, if we didn't have one, it was like at the school or something. Because I distinctly remember using one. And then we had a really hard time transitioning to wireless phones, which sounds really weird now. But that's back when like wireless phones were new. And it didn't matter what brand you got, they all sucked. You get like 20 feet away from the base station and the phone would start breaking up. You're just like, why did we get a cordless phone if we have to stand 5 feet away from the base? Why? This phone costs like $150 and it sucks. You remember that, right?
Yeah, and the worst part was is that, you know, as a teenager, I want to go to my room so I wasn't sitting in the living room with my mom could hear my conversation.
Yeah.
But I couldn't have the conversation in my room unless I held a pair of scissors up to the antenna because I guess metal, it helped amplify it somehow. I would hold scissors to the phone.
Oh my god. I relate to so much of this. Oh. Oh my god. I remember standing in the aisle at Best Buy for like an hour looking at three different types of cordless phones and trying to like figure out which one's the best for what.
Oh, and they had you could flip up the thing to get more information on them.
Yep.
Yeah, we did that.
And we would spend forever looking at these cordless phones trying to figure out which one we were going to buy, and eventually we like after 2 or 3 attempts we finally got one that would actually work across the house. Because they got better with time.
Yeah. And cheaper.
And cheaper, yeah. Like, there's a $30 corded phone there, and a $120 cordless phone that doesn't work for shit right here. And we're all like, get the cordless!
Because it was cool.
Well, because everybody wanted the convenience of being able to pick up the phone and walk to the other room. You know? And nowadays it just seems so stupid because now you have a cell phone that can get signal like underground and shit. And you're just like, why did they have such a hard time with cordless phones? It needed to go like 30 feet and it couldn't do that. Oh man. 90s, right?
Yeah.
That was a weird time.
But I did have a sweet puka shell necklace.
That's tight. Oh no. Oh my god. I didn't have a puka shell necklace. I wasn't cool enough for that.
Either I kept it in my jewelry box.
I bought one and never wore it. I was too afraid that the cool kids would make fun of me. Man, I'm loving this conversation.
Nostalgia.
Yeah, the nostalgia is just... It's just making me smile. Ah, being older. I like seeing the memes on Imager and stuff where people are all like, I turned 25 last week, I feel so old. And I'm just like, now I know how my mom felt. When I was all like, Mom, I'm 23, And she was all like, shut up. Come here, let me hit you. The 90s were an interesting decade, yes. The Vy'keen word for completion. Gross. Yes, like that. Now my brother is 40. LOL. Remind me to tell you after the stream too, but my brother got a job.
Oh, cool. So, job and whatever you wanted to ask me about the stream.
Yes. The second thing has to do with Ensign Ricky.
Okay.
It sounds weird to say my 40-year-old brother got a job, but he was in the military from high school until now. So, he had a job. He just retired from one and needed to get another. Now he's a male exotic dancer. Don't get excited, Baka. He doesn't look anything like me. He is way better looking. And Cappy's over there like, no!
Yeah, I'm like, no, he's really not.
Is
and
it?
I'm biased, so.
Yeah. Is a twin? How is he a twin but 3 years older than me? Did you also start with a TV without a remote, and when you got one with a remote, the first thing you did was check all the angles and hide behind furniture? Yeah. Yeah.
Is this still clicking? And your mom was like, oh my god, it is!
Yeah, I'm gonna
Keep it behind the couch.
Yeah.
That was my job. Go find your dad's chair. Move Monty's bed.
You're trying at it from like perpendicular to the TV. You're like sideways to the TV, but like 10 feet back, and you're like, I'm turning it on and off. I'm changing the channels. Oh my god, it works.
Around a corner.
Yeah. Can I get it to bounce off the mirror in the bathroom? Oh man. Oh, holy shit! That was too damn real. Oh my god. Oh, and now I feel spoiled now because I have an Amazon. Yeah, the mirror is creative. I know, right? We have an Amazon Fire in the bedroom so that I can watch like YouTube and Twitch in the bedroom. And the Amazon Fire remote works on RF, so it doesn't even need line of sight. And I'm like, this is great because I can hold my hands underneath the covers and I can still change the channels and pause it and stuff like that. But the TV volume doesn't work with RF, so it's still line of sight. So when I have to change the volume, I have to pull my arm out and point it at the TV, and I'm like, oh, so inconvenient. Oh, such a little spoiled bitch now. What is the Amazon Fire? It's a little device that hooks up. You plug it into HDMI and it hooks up via Wi-Fi, and then you can download channels onto it. So YouTube is a channel, Twitch is a channel, Amazon Prime is a channel, etc., etc., etc. And then this one device that's a single input on your TV can then be all those different options. I've been laughing so much I forgot who the hell I've talked to and who I haven't. I have to walk up to these people and it's like, you visited with him, and I'm like, okay. I might actually be done and not realize it. You should look into it. Yeah, I don't know if it's country locked or not, so definitely look into it like that, but it's great because we usually split some of our, because a lot of our services are like, oh, you can share it with your family. So like we pay for Netflix and Cappy's mom pays for one of the others. And then we just share it back and forth with each other. Real convenient. Oh, I should have got oxygen. Sorry, it was the whole... the first time you got a TV with a remote, were you hiding behind furniture to see what kind of angle it would work on? Holy crap. That was so real. Yeah, it's convenient because you can hook it up and get all... I use it primarily for like Twitch and YouTube, but I mean it's also got Amazon and Netflix and a whole bunch of other stuff, Hulu and all the others on it. So if I want to watch something on Netflix, I go to the same thing and I just choose Netflix instead of YouTube. Super convenient. Alright, remind me to buy oxygen, please. I remember the first video game console experience I had was at my friend's house. Because that was before we had our own video games. So I would go over to my friend's house and we would play Super Mario Brothers 2. That game was awesome. Yeah, we had a computer pretty quick. I think I don't know for sure, but I'm pretty sure my parents kind of realized when computers were coming out that computers were definitely going to be the thing in the future. So they were like, yeah, we should definitely get one so the kids know how computers work. And here I am working in IT for a living, right? I don't know if that was exclusively the reason they got a computer, but I know that was probably part of it.
Your dad just really wanted to play Mahjong.
My dad really wanted Mahjong. That's what it was. My dad really wanted to play Mahjong. Dude, I remember waking up in the morning at like 5 in the morning because I had a bad night's sleep or something, and waking up and Dad was still awake. Hadn't gone to bed yet. Still playing Mahjong on the computer. I'm like, oh my god, have you been up all night? What? No. No, I was asleep. And then I'd look at him and I'd be like, there was no way that fool went to sleep. It's not like, Dad is lying. But if he told me that he had been to sleep and Mom woke up and asked me, I'd be like, yeah, he was asleep. As if I knew. I just love thinking about that. Why did your parents decide to buy a computer? My dad wanted to play Mahjong. What? That and Scorched Earth. Was that a 386? I think it was a 386, yeah. It was either a 386 or a 486. I can't remember. But our first computer was one of those with the button on the front that you pushed it and it went turbo. I remember that. And being like, oh, I'm playing a game. I should push this button that says turbo. And me knowing computers now, I'm like, that button didn't do shit. Scorched Earth was really good, dude. I love that game. Kadung dung. Dial-up internet, bro. I remember our first upgrade on our computer took it from either a 386 or a 486, whichever one it was, to a 686. I remember that. Our second computer was a 686, and that was like, oh my god, this is so much faster. Now my watch is more powerful than that. The first computer you had was a green-black screen in MS-DOS with large square discs, and a game was a smiley face trying to cross the road. Was the game called ZZT? Because we had a game that was almost exactly like you described, called ZZT. I was trash at that game. But I was also like 12, so I wasn't very smart either. Frogger. Here it was called Road Crosser. Intellectual property, man. Don't steal our intellectual property of Frogger. Although I think Frogger is technically Japanese, not American, but I think that's Capcom or something owns Frogger. I played a lot of Civilizations 1, the original. I played Scorched Earth. I played a few educational games that at the time didn't feel educational at all. Although I'm sure they were. Although that's the good sign of an educational game, is one that as a kid you play it, it doesn't feel educational. Like, I can't remember the one, but there was one game where you were an investigator and there was something happened at this building. I guess it was a school or something. And there were different enemies that were usually made out of trash. They were made out of like a pogo stick or a mop or, you know, other things. And you would pick up clues around the building to try to figure out who had done the crime. I forgot what game that was, but that was a really... At the time, I thought that game was stupid fun. And I realize now that it was purely educational. It was trying to teach you, like, problem solving and shit. And I was all like, this is a cool game! I don't have to learn anything! Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego? Yep, that... I watched the game show. We had a game show for Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego. And those kids were stupid. This city, she's in the city with the Eiffel Tower. And they run over to like Australia and put the thing down. And you're like, oh my God, is this kid an idiot?
Happy. You trying to do geography.
Yeah, it is you doing geography. I think that was the thing that annoyed me the most about the show is for some reason I had an aptitude for geography and history and stuff like that. Americans don't usually know where Slovenia is nowadays either. Americans don't know where Mexico is. Let alone Slovenia. Like, no offense to Slovenia, Mexico is next door to the United States, and they can't figure out where it is.
Honestly, gave me a pin and said that a certain state, I may not be able to put it in the right state. And, you know, like, geography just isn't,
Geography is not something that's heavily focused on.
No. Not here.
No. I mean, education is not something that's heavily focused on. So there's one problem, but...
Reading, am I right?
Yeah. Fuck shapes and colors. Who needs that shit? You think you could place roughly 40 of the United States? I could probably do 48 of the 50. If I was a betting man, I would say 48. Because Cappy is like 2. And I'm like, Texas isn't one of them, is it? And you're like, oh, 3! There's a couple of the small ones, like, I always forget which one is Delaware and which one's Connecticut. Like, the little tiny ones, yeah, exactly, Trika. The little tiny ones in the Northeast are a little confusing. Oh, I already talked to this guy. I learned a trick for figuring out which one... There's 2 states that are the same shape, they're just mirrored on each other up in the Northeast. And I figured out the trick on that one. One of them is Vermont, and the other is New Hampshire. And the easy way to tell is the one that's shaped like a V is Vermont. Because the other one is shaped like a V, but it's upside down. And that one's New Hampshire.